All right, you ready?
Yep. Sweat Equity Podcast and streaming show, the #1 comedy business podcast in the world.
Make it quick. I gotta do this the whole time.
Pragmatic entrepreneurial advice with real raw dog talk, hosted by me, Law Smith, and Eric Reginger.
I don't give a shit.
We're 2022's Lux Life Best Small Business Podcast Advice out there in the world. I don't know. We won another award. Big deal. Big whoop. Listen to us on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Vimeo, your mom's Walkman, that Sony old Walkman. Yeah, we're on that. We're in her high-waisted jean shorts that made a comeback. This episode sponsored by Squarespace. Create a customizable website or online store with an all-in-one solution from Squarespace. Choose a website template and start your free trial today. Hook up this show, hook up yourself with a little referral code action in the description. And if you want to be our BFFs, subscribe to this podcast, rate the show with a 5-star review, write a little short review. We may read it on air. And then share the show with a friend or family member, a loved one, if you will. We got John Pertino from...
Nailed it. Totally nailed it.
You like that?
Perfecto.
Pertino from the Agency Guide. Maybe one of the best interviews we've had on this show. And we'll definitely have to have him back on. But the tag, as we call it in the episode, the agencyguide.com is where you can find it. Let's get the party started.
It's called Sweat Equity. Sweat Equity.
Sweat equity.
Sweat Equity.
Sweat equity.
You are listening to the Sweat Equity Podcast.
Sweat equity.
I mean, you know what we're going to ask right up top anyway.
Hey guys,
John,
Hey there.
how's it going?
we'll move our nicotine gum and I'll put mine like a dip so it's not chomping.
Yeah,
in
me
your
too.
ear.
My bad.
That's a good idea. Where's your spit bottle?
Well, I forget people think I dip when I'm on stage doing stand-up, and I forget I have nicotine gum as I'm walking up, and I have to put it in like a lip, and I mumble. I mumble already, as my orthodontist used to say, big teeth, little mouth. But I'll say
Little tiny mouth.
little baby mouth. I wouldn't be good in prison.
Yeah, you would.
Well, you know, this ass don't quit. That's for sure. We're already going. We'll probably keep this part in.
All right, sounds good.
we're
I mean, the baby mouth and all.
We're baby mouth.
Especially.
We're live on tape. That's how we roll. Less pre-production. John, why don't you give the audience your plugs, where people can find you, all that stuff.
Yeah, sure. So I'm the founder of a unique marketing consultancy called The Agency Guide. We're based out of Philadelphia. You can find us online at theagencyguide.com. We used to be The Agency Guy, rebranded a couple years ago, so The Agency Guy works as well. And as far as social goes, most of our handles are Agency Guide HQ. If anyone needs help finding a reliable marketing agency or advice on how to select marketing channels, would love to help however we can.
Yeah, you're one of the few guests we've had that sent an email ahead of time preparing on what to talk about. And
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
no, it's a great
It's a great thing.
because we have a mantra of not prepping beforehand. And it's not because we're lazy. It
Right.
actually is on purpose to kind of be from the mouth of babes. See, we got our own agency over here, and we work on spin. No, but it's one of those things where, we want to kind of ask some of the dumber questions in a way, and sometimes we can gloss over that. We don't want to get too nitty gritty specific,
Yeah. Keep it nice and
Okay.
dumb.
Well,
Dumb sounds
five-year-olds.
perfect. I came on here to be as dumb as possible.
Fantastic.
well, it's just a conversation. We don't want to we can definitely get into ABM marketing, and we can get into pixel tracking, all that stuff. We can get all into that stuff, but it's not it's not very palatable if you're not in the marketing world, you know?
Totally get it.
Let's, since this is your first time on the show, we used to
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
You guys are looking super Tampa Bay, by the way.
Thank you.
That's our vibe.
I think.
We're bringing the early 90s back.
Yeah, you got the cutoff tees.
Well, this
you're like the sweat bros, right?
Yes.
This is the tank top I'm wearing. If anybody wants to go on our store on sweatequitypod.com, it is a girthyroi, but I made it so that the negative space on it, it's not so pronounced, so you can wear it out in public.
Right.
I like it.
Yeah.
You know, I see comedians merch that has like the F word on it, and you're like, yeah, I guess
Who's gonna wear that?
You wear that at home, or
Right.
Yeah, it's a bit much. I just saw that on the plane. It's funny you bring that up.
Really?
Like I just had one word, the F word on it, and I was thinking that's bold, you know.
I saw one that had just cocaine on it, and I was like, "That is cool."
Wow,
That
that's
one,
next level.
who's that
one's
for?
Cool.
Who are those for?
I guess me
Well,
to go and be like, "That's cool." Cocaine.
Yeah, I'm like
but is it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny. I mean, obviously, I think it's cool because it's funny.
Well,
I mean, why stop at cocaine? Meth.
A guy that wears a
Right?
cocaine hat, talk about branding, he wants you to talk to him about cocaine.
Right.
Or
True.
he's recovering, which is where my head went.
Right. You might as well add a question mark. Cocaine?
Or he's looking. He's
Yeah,
looking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like advertising. Oh, no, officer, it's just a joke.
Yeah.
If you have any cocaine,
Not the
it'd be cool.
not the greatest icebreaker, I would say.
No.
And at an airport,
But
like
he cuts through the bullshit.
Efficient.
putting
Yeah, efficient. Yeah.
putting fuck on a hat, I mean, it doesn't get you laid for sure. Like,
Yeah.
That kind of girl. Whew.
yeah. I mean, maybe in a certain small, like, I don't get it. It's really because maybe I'm getting more conservative as I get older. There's a lot more salt than pepper going.
Yeah.
Like John's beard as well. And like,
Nice.
I think I'm just like, who's this for? It's just going to be little kids asking what that's about.
Right. You're just making parents' life harder.
Yeah. Now I get like when I used to skate and I get like the BMW sticker that said THC instead of BMW.
Yeah, that's fun.
Sure.
Yeah.
But you had to get that at a real skate shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, the F-bomb hat, it's not great for conversion, frankly.
No.
There's a lot of bounce rate with the F-bomb hat.
But maybe we don't know. And maybe that's an A/B test.
Yeah, I would love to know how many of those were sold because somebody made those. Somebody thought that was a good idea to make them, and he probably made 10,000 of them.
And
10,000 fuck hats.
was this guy, were you on a plane going from Philly somewhere else? Because that's where my head went.
Yeah, that's right. Just left Philadelphia today.
Okay, well.
Just landed in Chicago, and got my hustle on so I could be here in time for you guys. Sorry if my lighting's a little weird.
Oh, you're all good.
Perfect.
Look, you look like you're in a nice Airbnb right now.
Just some rando B&B, but it works.
Yeah. So we ask everybody the first time on, what advice would you give your 13-year-old self?
Right. Yes, I totally forgot to prepare for that question.
Good.
You don't have to.
Good.
It's not. It's not supposed to be a prepared question of sorts. We're not used to the guests listening before they come on, so
It's happening a lot more recently. I don't like it.
Yeah, it's so cliche, but probably something along the lines of hustle, put in the work, and I'm going to use some fancy terminology here, but have an internal frame of locus of control. Something they taught. I wasn't a psychology major, but I took Psych 101 as an elective. And I'll never forget the day. It was like day 1 or day 2, and they were like, "Look, there's internal locus of control and external locus of control, and you fall into one of these two camps, right?" Probably a gross oversimplification, but an external locus of control is someone who generally feels that life happens to them, and an internal locus of control is someone that feels that they have some, if not a lot, of control of what happens in their life. And so, some combination of hustle and an internal locus of control, that's what I would tell my 13-year-old self and any 13-year-olds that might be listening to your podcast. By the way, apologize to all the 13-year-olds that had to hear that initial conversation about F-bombs and cocaine hats.
I think we're good.
Oh, no,
I think we're all right.
They know better cuss words than we do.
Yeah,
at
they
this
have all the
point.
cool ones. We don't even
Yeah.
know them yet. That's interesting. It seems like a lot of our guests have that stoic sort of mindset with things of controlling the things they can control and leaving the other things to be how they are.
Nice.
It's what been having off air. Been having a lot of kind of destination conversations. Like I like to say, just kind of being flippant. Like I'm too American to believe in predestination of, like it's there for, like, I hate the phrase like everything happens for a reason, right? Because we kind of live in a great opportunistic society. Not saying that as a pejorative, because that word's only opportunistic's only used like as getting ripped off.
I know, but that phrase is only said when people just had something shitty happen to them and they're trying to make them feel better.
That's what I said.
Not like
that's what I said
it's
too.
not like a thing where it's like you wake up and it's like everything happens for a reason, and then you like have a great day because you thought about it that way. It's something you say to somebody to make them feel better.
Well, that's what I said. I go, that is
true.
like such a non-statement to me, almost because it's like it is what it is, right? And that's like my
That
thing was
statement
like,
is a different. That's like I'm done. I have nothing else to say about it, and can you stop talking about it also? Please?
exactly. I think
It is what it is.
When you go, everything happens for a reason. It's a conversation ender almost.
It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be. I don't know.
Oh no, I'm an asshole, and I'm like, I don't really buy into that much because these colors don't run. No, but so locus of control? I haven't heard that in a long time. That is.
It's the technical term, yeah.
So I seem to feel like we're kind of in the gray on that. Like I feel like there are some things you can control, your habits, your routine. There's going to be externalities that you can't, right? Like COVID, for example, the lockdown, that you can't really control something like that. All you can do is adapt. So you would go back in time to your 13-year-old self and explain locus of control in kind of
Yes.
a binary kind of manner.
Yeah, with a cocaine hat on. But
Don't do
maybe-
this.
No, in the future,
Maybe
this
not-
is cool. In the future, this
Right.
one guy likes it a lot.
maybe not in those terms, but I would. And something you said reminds me of something really insightful I read or came across just recently. It's actually in a Jordan Peterson book, if you happen to know who he is.
I love them.
Big time.
And everybody knows the yin and yang, and that it symbolizes, positive, negative, male, female. But I think it was his take. It was one of those synchronistic moments where, like, I came across 3 different things in one day that all were touching on the same principle. Have you ever had that happen to you
All
before?
the time. Law and I
Far
have
out.
crazy shit happen to us where it's like that didn't happen. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they're so insignificant, it's not worth telling anybody
Right.
else.
And here I am
Oh,
talking, but it
man.
happens all the time, like creepy stuff.
It's
Yeah,
like
sure.
you were thinking about Sister Act 2 as well. That's fucking weird.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah. In fact, I had a moment with that today with you guys, but we can talk about it later. I don't want to derail the convo, but the yin yang, right? So I think it was Jordan Peterson. He was talking about how the yin yang also represents control and the inability to control, and that part of the ancient philosophy around it was that line that separates the two is basically the individual's ability to toe both sides at the same time, to master the elements of what they can control while being able to simultaneously operate in, or deal with or adapt to all the things they can't control. And the towing of the line is the line that separates the pieces. I thought that was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, yeah. He gets a lot of unfair due.
For sure.
Because I don't think people actually listen to
Exactly.
his long form interviews.
Yeah, they look at snippets.
God, I want to try to do an impression of him, but I can't even think of what it is.
Yeah, it's kind of high pitched.
You go, oh, you got the yin and the yang.
Yeah.
It's like
He goes that high.
he ends every sentence like a oh.
Yeah.
But it's all about the yin and the yang, and people don't understand. Yeah. So I got to listen to him. I'll work
Yeah.
on that.
We'll do that live one day.
So the reason we asked that question, we started doing it at the beginning, is because it sets the table for kind of how you were brought up. At 13, tell us about, like, Why do you think you needed to give yourself that message?
Wow, you guys go deep.
Business is psychology, really. I mean, if you really break it down, we're trying to predict personas, behavior, in the marketing world especially, right?
Okay, I see. Well, I must admit, my answer to the question wasn't necessarily backed by where I personally was at that stage, as much as just, most 13-year-olds, I would give that advice. But me personally, my parents were just getting divorced. And that's an interesting age, right, that you highlight there, where, you go from child to not so childlike to adolescence, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's certainly an inflection point, as they say. Nevertheless, even though I wasn't thinking of my specific 13-year-old self, that probably would have been a great time to give myself that advice. At that time, I think my hair was green. I probably had a studded belt. I was probably listening to Real Big Fish and Goldfinger.
Me too.
And trying to ride a skateboard through the streets of South Jersey.
Yeah, all of that except in Tampa. Yeah.
Yeah.
And minus the green hair because I'd get in trouble. But
yeah. Operation Ivy was the bomb, right?
Well, Goldfinger's one of the. I mean, I used to listen to Goldfinger nonstop. And Real Big Fish, I don't want to admit it, but I listen to that a lot too.
True story. Real Big Fish threw mini boxes of cereal at my girlfriend on their tour bus when I was 14, 15 years old.
That's awesome. I got to be in the front for Warped Tour and sing. They did the mic thing. Them and Mighty Mighty Boston's at Warped Tour one year.
I played golf with Pete Sampras.
Did you just have to blurt out to stay in it? You're like,
I don't really know what we're doing right now.
Hey, it is what it is.
Hey, 99 Luff Balloons by Goldfinger, great cover. So,
It is what it is.
One of the things, that's a good callback. One of the things you sent ahead of time
For the record, John.
that always interests us is agencies, marketing agencies that are a lot of hype. You mentioned hustle in your answer earlier. Did you not have your hustle on? Do you believe in hustle culture now? Or is it one of those things where it's that fake it till you make it on an agency front? And I think I'm going to guess, this is kind of a leading question, obviously, but I'm going to guess you find that despicable like we do. The agency life of being like, you got to hustle and really more about the biz dev marketing side for their own agency instead of the results of the actual clients they have.
Yeah.
Sure. So I feel like I should give some context on what we do at Tag. I don't know if you guys already do that before the episode, if that would be helpful.
Go for it.
Yeah, and I'll be brief. So Tag is an 8-year-old consultancy. There's 5 of us, and each member of the team has at least a decade, if not a couple decades of experience behind this, which is key. We collectively represent about 200 different marketing agencies and consultants, which is quite a few, but at the same time, it's like a manageable number. 200 is not that many, really. And we know all 200 or so of those teams quite well. And we're essentially matchmaking brands to these agencies based on their specific needs, and while providing no-cost consulting along the way. So for brands, it's like, hey, look, objectively, if we were in your shoes, here's what we would do, here's how we would do it, here's why we do it, and here's who we think you should work with to do it. And then there's no cost or commitment on their part. They simply interview that agency and decide whether or not they want to work with them. And then we, of course, make our revenues on the back end. So with that context in place, let me get back to your question. There's so many things just wrong with, or just innately flawed with, the marketing agency. The buyer/seller buyer agency model is just riddled with pitfalls. And you were asking about the hustle culture associated with agencies. It's one of those things where, from the business's perspective, you can understand why they want to instill that culture and try, it's capitalism, right? They want to try to get every last dollar out of those employees they can, or not all agencies, but certainly there's plenty of them out there that are just, these machines, if you will, these not treadmills, but what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, churn and burn, right? And that is not only an awful thing, but but it's an awful thing for the employees. It's an awful thing for the work culture, and it's an awful thing for the brands that deal with those churn and burn agencies. And there's a lot of them out there, especially on the digital side of the equation. I think there's a little less churn, burn BS with some of the branding and creative shops because just innately they need to dive deeper, be more customized, be more sincere with what they're doing. After all, authenticity is so key to brand. But man, with digital shops like classic SEO, classic PPC, classic social, not all, but there's so many of them. They're just churn and burn factories, I guess was really the word I was looking for earlier. So
yeah, I mean, I have a disdain for a lot of that. It's definitely, when we're working agency life, it's kind of like we did the opposite. We were doing the results, but we weren't promoting ourselves. So we were kind of the other way on that, which as I'm trying to revive the old agency brand, that's what I really want to push forward is, hey, we've done it. Here are the results. Here's what's going on. But because of comedy, I feel like you have to keep the brand integrity in place, and you can't for the client. I'm saying, not the agency. The hard part about all the digital work is you work behind the scenes. Like you don't
make anything.
Well, you do and you don't. You don't make anything tangible.
They can't touch it.
Right. And leads especially feel intangible, right?
Right.
Unless you can really...
And even still, you got to do your own reports and make it look nice and make it, look at all this shit we did.
And that's why I always push towards ROI, hence the girthy ROI kind of slogan of our show. It's kind of like, because at the end of the day, that's all the clients who are typically owners or C-suite level making the decision. That's all they really care about at the end of the day. And if you're not really providing that, you're not doing anything. Is that kind of fair to say? Is that a good brand positioning? I'm just going to get
for sure.
Advice.
It's just amazing how across the different, as an agency matchmaker, right? And we are matching all different size businesses, all different types of verticals or industry segments with all different types of agencies. It's really interesting the things you see after doing this for 8 years now. Mm-hmm. And, yes, generally speaking, what almost everyone wants at the client side is the return on investment for sure. It's interesting from the small businesses vantage point. A lot of them, I think, go into the engagement with this mindset, this kind of confrontational mindset of like,
yep.
Look, Joe, you sound good, but we'll see what you're worth in 30 to 60 days. And if my cash register is not ringing, my phones aren't blowing up, then you must not be who you say you are, and you're fired. And it's like, well, I can relate to that on so many levels as a fellow small business owner. The thing that I think they're missing is a lot of business owners that come into the engagement with that mindset is that it kind of just doesn't work like that. And I only say kinda, I only qualify that statement with kinda because digital ad buying to some extent can produce those quick results, but take ad buying out of the equation. You're not going to get that usually with SEO, or definitely not with PR or branding. It's just really hard to produce ROI so fast like that. And unfortunately, that's the mindset that a lot of business owners, small business owners in particular, are coming into it with. And so it kind of, again, starts the relationship with this confrontational nature right out of the gate, and that makes it really tough for both sides.
My experience, I've had it. I can show them results. I can show them. I do ROI analysis, right? And it's still confrontational. And I think part of it is because of that intangible part for a lot of I'm talking small local businesses, really. They know they need to do it. They've heard they need to do it for a while. They need help, but they come in with that attitude. That's very, that's a very clairvoyant thought. That's like one of those things where I haven't really pieced that together in a formal way. So I appreciate you kind of formalizing that.
Yeah, I mean, it highlights the importance of tracking every step of the way. Anything you're doing as an agency, make sure you can show it and tell them why. Why is that good? That doesn't make me money. But it will.
Maybe a bit self-serving, but let's go through a scenario. As I'm reviving Tokabaga, agency I had and kind of laid dormant, now trying to bring it from the ashes. I go to you. How does this work out? I want your services. How does that help? As an agency, I'm an agency, and we can walk through a scenario for anybody listening that might be an agency owner that wants to talk to you, because you feel it sounds like you fill a very important need. I like the Matchmaker line, because if you could matchmake clients and it's kind of no cost to the agency side until the client is a client, potential client is an active client, where you probably make money on that side, I'm guessing.
We make all our revenue from the agencies in the form of commissions, and we're totally transparent about that. And frankly, most brands, if not all brands, could care less.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially since ultimately we just make the revenue that agency usually would have paid their sales guy anyway. And since we work strictly on commission, not on salary, arguably there's less, like salary bloat tied into the retainer, if that makes sense.
Sure.
Yeah. When we started this again 8 years ago, I knew that I could provide a lot of value to the agencies, not just for the obvious fact that we were looking to bring them clients and bring them the right clients, but the agencies have it really tough too. And I don't think the brands quite understand that. And again, we use the term agencies very loosely, right? So let's maybe qualify or differentiate here that generally speaking, I think for today's purposes, when we say agencies and brands, we're talking smaller, call it million in revenue to 10 million in revenue, 20 million in revenue. We spend a lot of time playing in that space, and that's where, frankly, I think our services are needed the most, both the agencies of that size and the brands of that size. And the agencies that are really good, it's so hard to differentiate, right? Which is ironic. It's ironic on multiple levels, right? Because a marketer's job is to differentiate. And yet, arguably, there's no field of service, no profession that's harder to differentiate than the marketing profession because, well, one, you're up against so many other marketers, but two, it's relatively easy, if not very easy, to fake it when you haven't made it as an agency. Mm-hmm. And as an established agency, albeit, again, a smaller, more boutique one, it's hard to look different than those agencies that are just faking it, and there's a million of them out there. There's no barriers to entry. It's so easy to grab a Squarespace template, hashtag Squarespace plug for you guys, right? So nice. So easy to grab a Squarespace template and look amazing. This is true. So easy to research in an afternoon other marketing agencies that have put years of sweat equity, another plug for you guys, into their business, real talk.
Yeah.
And then copy and paste their content, change it a little bit, throw it in your Squarespace template, and voila, you've got an agency, air quotes, from your bedroom. Then you multiply that by 100, 1,000, 10,000, and that's the agency landscape in a nutshell. And then littered throughout that morass of bullshit is, the 5% of agencies that have really done it, that really know what they're doing, or frankly, really deserve a shot. And so the agencies are frustrated. And when I was selling for agencies, I was frustrated because I thought I was pretty good at what I knew at the time, and the agencies I worked for were pretty good. And it was so hard to differentiate from all the jokers out there. So I knew that the agencies would love what we were doing. I didn't know how brands would respond to this model. Thankfully, almost a decade later, we've worked with some amazing brands, large and small, and they really appreciate what we're doing as well.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to hit you up off air if we can get in the tag program.
Yeah, you hit me in the DMs, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm a LinkedIn whore, as you probably saw. That we have a lot of mutual contacts.
Terrific.
What can a brand that might be listening, when you talk to them on the other side of this kind of marketplace that you've created? I keep thinking of $1 Million Matchmaker as I'm talking to you, because it kind of is that, right? It's not a corny show, but that I forget her name, but she had good results with what she did. If I'm a brand and I'm pulling in $1 million plus in revenue, small, what would you, how do you, I guess I'm interested how you procure the other side of that.
The agencies?
No, the brands, the way you matchmake.
Oh, sure. Well, in terms of the opportunities we come across, historically, it's been a lot of word of mouth and referral. And the 5 members of my team, essentially the 5 consultants that work for Tag, we all are kind of career marketers and career business development people that married our networks together and kind of becomes this self-fulfilling thing. Another thing that happens is a lot of agencies out there, is that old one man's garbage is another man's gold, where a lot of agencies send us their unqualified leads, and we're happy to assist that brand in helping them find a proper home. And so to all the agencies out there that might be listening, if you have unqualified leads, we'd love to take them off your hands. But for the brands out there, it's just as, if not even more hard to find reliable support, because if it's hard for marketers to distinguish the legit marketers from others, it's that much harder for the brand. So, it's not an easy thing. Did that answer your question?
Yeah. And I'm rewriting kind of an outline of a business plan right now, and kind of one of the core values I wanted to put out there is kind of being in integrity, which is tough in the agency game, and that's really tough to put on there and actually prove it. Mm-hmm.
Right, exactly. But it's just a word until somebody can dig layers deeper. That's right.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where what I've failed to do is prove it by showing results, case studies, right? You're really trying to build trust, and you're in the trust business, it seems like.
100%. Yeah, I mean, in terms of finding the agencies to represent, we go through all the normal checkpoints and then some. So your normal checkpoints are, first of all, sizing up the site. As I mentioned earlier, it's easy to kind of fake that, but you give the site a once over. And not to digress, but the opposite is actually true, where there's a lot of good marketing agencies that actually don't give a shit about their site, which is counterintuitive, but I kid you not, and I've told brands this before, I would not be so quick to actually judge a digital agency in particular, emphasis on the digital part, judge that book by its cover, because a lot of digital agencies don't give a crap. If they're not creative focused, they're getting a lot of business through referrals, through their network, through ranking, through just everybody knowing that they're great, and they don't care what their site looks like.
But if they're not creative focused is a very key part of it.
They're not creative focused, and so it's one of these ironic things. But anyway, so we go through the normal checkpoints and looking at their site, doing some research testimonials. A little bit of a hidden gem we like to look at is Glassdoor. And while you can't put there's things about Glassdoor that are a little sketchy, kind of like Yelp, but still, I think looking at employee reviews can tell you a lot about an agency and the way people are responding to them. So 1 or 2 bad Glassdoor reviews, maybe you take with a grain of salt, but if you see a pattern of awful Glassdoor reviews, that tells you a lot.
Sample size.
I really believe with agencies, that old mantra rings true of a fish rots from the head down, which is another tip I always give brands, which is always see if you can get the agency owner on the phone before you sign on the dotted line, which for small agencies, usually it is the agency owner on the phone, but as they get bigger, that gets harder and harder, and that owner gets more removed. And I find that, again, there's no silver bullet here, but there's some real value in A, seeing if you can get that guy or gal on the phone, or B, doing some research, some YouTube video research or interview research on that owner, that or the stakeholders, to see if you can get a feel for kind of the culture and fabric of the organization. That can give you a good feel for what your experience is going to be with.
Well, John, we hit the tip of the iceberg. There's so much we want to ask you, but we stacked interviews for today. We'll have to have you back on soon, because there's a lot more to talk about, especially. I think we hit like 2 bullet points you sent us out of a good amount. You did our pre-pro for us. But appreciate you coming on. We'll have to have you back on pretty soon, because I got a lot more questions for you. And I'm,
Would
I'm
love it,
sure
guys.
Eric does as well.
Yeah.
But appreciate you coming on. Appreciate your time. Have fun in Chicago. Go get a chocolate milkshake at that one place where the lady puts her. You never heard of that?
Puts her what?
And you go. There's a place in Chicago. You ask for a chocolate milkshake. They turn all the lights down, and then a huge African American lady comes out and basically forces a motorboat on you, and the whole place goes nuts.
Oh, okay, cool.
So go have fun finding that.
That's what John's going to do. He told us.
Or go to Zany's, it's the only comedy club where my headshot's up in Old Town.
Yeah, it was.
You get a deep dish pizza with the milkshake because that would be incredible.
That's why you're good. That's that upsell. That's that cross sell.
That sounds good, guys. Thanks so much.
See ya.
Thanks, man.
All right, take it easy.